exemption.
Novak Djokovic landed in Melbourne on Wednesday in the middle of a political maelstrom over his medical exemption from COVID-19 vaccination requirements, with a visa blunder adding to the world number one's problems ahead of the Australian Open. Djokovic touched down at airport at about 11:30 p.m. local time, but was awaiting permission to enter the country after it emerged that his team had applied for a visa that doesn't allow for medical exemptions. That prompted the local government of Victoria, the state where the Open is played, to say it would not support Djokovic's application, putting his fate in the hand of the federal government and Prime Minister Scott Morrison. Morrison has faced an enormous backlash over his government's decision to grant Djokovic a medical exemption from vaccination to play at the Open, where the player would be bidding for a record 21st major title. Australia, especially the state of Victoria, has endured the world's longest cumulative lockdown, and an outbreak of the Omicron variant has sent case numbers to record levels. Following the backlash, Morrison suggested Djokovic's participation was not a done deal and he would have to satisfy the federal government, which has responsibility for international borders and visa and was not part of the exemption process.
Well, my view is that any individual seeking to enter Australia must comply with our border requirements. Now, Novak Djokovic, when he arrives in Australia, I'm not quite sure when he's going to turn up, but I don't think it's too far away, he has to, because if he's not vaccinated, he must provide acceptable proof that he cannot be vaccinated for medical reasons and to be able to access the same travel arrangements as fully vaccinated travellers. So we await his presentation and what evidence he provides to support that. If that evidence is insufficient, then he won't be treated any different to anyone else and he'll be on the next plane home. So there should be no special rules for Novak Djokovic at all, none whatsoever. If medical exemptions have been provided by medical professionals and that's been furnished to him as a proviso for him to get on that plane, well, that will have to stack up when he arrives in Australia. But he'll be treated no different to anyone else, and my view is he should be treated no different to anyone else. There are other cases, there are quite a number over the last couple of years, where people have had these exemptions and have the suitable proof to support their claim in those circumstances. So the circumstance is not unique. The issue is whether he has sufficient evidence to support that he would qualify for that exemption. Thank you all very much for your attention.
Djokovic came in on an Emirates flight, but when border officials contacted the Victorian government to ask if the state would formally support the world number one's visa, it said it wouldn't. It was not clear whether the federal government would allow his entry. The border force could not be reached for comment. Tennis Australia and government officials moved quickly to stress that Djokovic, who has said he is opposed to COVID-19 vaccinations, has received no preferential treatment. Djokovic, who has won 9 titles at Melbourne Park, including the last 3, confirmed on Tuesday that he had received a vaccination exemption to allow him to play at the Australian Open, which starts on January 17.